I'm a clear-headed mistress. In my past life, I only cared about money, not love. But my sugar daddy's first love secretly bound me to a mind-reading system. When he asked if I loved him, I put on a shy expression. Of course I love you most. You're my whole world. But inside, I rolled my eyes. Talking about true feelings in a money transaction? What kind of idiot does that? His face instantly turned cold. Later, his first love suggested he faked being sick, so I could take care of him. On the surface, I held the medicine bowl and cooed softly. Baby, drink this and you'll feel better. What would I do if something happened to you? But inside, I was calculating. If he actually died, I need to find my next sugar daddy fast, before I could switch to another rich guy. My furious sugar daddy threw me into the ocean to feed the fish. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn. To the day Emma first bound me to that mind-reading system. Looking in the mirror at myself in a fiery red dress with makeup, I suddenly smiled. Love. This time around, I'll show that first love what a top-tier mistress really looks like. After all, the ultimate skill of a professional mistress is making the fake feel real. In my past life, I lived clearly and directly. I knew exactly what I wanted and what I didn't want. Endless money and a worry-free, luxurious life. As for love, that was too abstract. Nowhere near as solid as the numbers in my bank account. I thought Emma and I had a perfect arrangement. She wanted Ryan's love, I wanted Ryan's money. Each doing our job without interfering. How perfect was that? But I never expected Emma's passiveness to be so terrifying. She not only wanted Ryan's love, but couldn't stand any other woman around him, even one who was only there for money. She secretly bound me to that mind-reading system, exposing all my real thoughts to Ryan. When my sugar daddy asked if I loved him, I gave him full emotional value. On the surface, acting shy and blushing. But inside I was rolling my eyes like crazy. Are you insane? Isn't this just a clearly priced transaction? Why talk about genuine love? If it wasn't for your money, who would want a fake smile at your ice-cold face? Every word of my inner thoughts reached Ryan's ears. The tenderness on his face vanished instantly. And that same day, he cut off my monthly 10 million allowance. Later, Emma whispered in his ear, suggesting he fake illness to test my sincerity. Ryan actually believed her. He claimed to have a serious disease and stayed bedridden. Every day, I brought medicine, cooing softly, baby, drink the medicine and you'll get better. What would I do if something happened to you? But inside, I was calculating this illness looks serious. If he actually dies, my luxurious life is over. I need to find suitable backup options. That brother of his I met last time looked pretty wealthy too. Should I get his contact info first? These thoughts were clearly transmitted to Ryan through the mind-reading system. He thought I was cold and selfish, only caring about money, not people. So my luxury bags and jewelry also said goodbye to me. Later, Emma framed me for betraying him, deliberately tempting me to abandon my sugar daddy. Finally, the furious Ryan threw me directly into the ocean to feed the fish. Before dying, I clearly saw Emma standing on the deck with a victor smile, remembering my death. I felt so unwilling. I hadn't even spent my saved 50 million, and I died just like that. Since Emma insisted on competing with me, I'll show her what a top-tier mistress really looks like. Thinking this, I took a deep breath, adjusted my makeup in the mirror, then put on a weak, innocent expression. I pushed open the bathroom door and walked out. A few steps later, I saw the lounge area where Ryan sat on the sofa. He wore a black custom suit, tall and imposing, with a stern face. Beside him stood Emma in a white dress, holding a delicate white porcelain plate, apparently preparing to feed him something. In my past life, this was when she first schemed against me. She calculated my personality perfectly, deliberately feeding him in front of me. Naturally, I didn't want her stealing my monthly 10 million allowance, so I rushed forward to replace her. But Emma never really wanted to feed Ryan. She was waiting for me to challenge her. Back then, I was arrogant and only cared about Ryan's money. I didn't care about his safety or remember his severe nut allergy. Seeing Emma's fake act, I grabbed the cookies from her hand without thinking and smiled while feeding them to Ryan. Emma, so thoughtful. You should try them, Ryan. Here, let me feed you. I smiled sweetly on the surface. But inside I thought, stop pretending to be loving. Don't you just want to steal my sugar daddy? If not for money, who would bother serving stinky men? As a result, Ryan got angry. He furiously questioned whether I really didn't like him at all. Emma fanned the flames, deliberately, letting him hear my real thoughts through the mind-reading system. Back then, I wondered why the more pitiful I acted, the angrier he got. Turns out, he heard my inner curses. Unfortunately, in my past life, I did exactly what she wanted. But this time, I'll not only expose her tricks, but make her face the consequences. I put on a worried expression, lifted my dress, and quickly walked over. When Emma saw me, a flash of smudness crossed her eyes before she feigned surprise. "Sarah, you're here." Before she could finish speaking, before anyone could react, I raised my hand and slapped her hard. Emma's head snapped to the side, a clear handprint instantly appearing on her pale cheek. The cookie plate crashed to the ground with a clang, scattering cookies everywhere. The entire room fell silent, all eyes focused on us. Emma covered her cheek in disbelief, tears welling up. "Sarah, you hit me." Ryan frowned, his eyes full of inquiry, looking at me with surprise. This was exactly the effect I wanted. Before Emma could react, I stepped forward and pointed at her nose. "Emma, what are you plotting? You know perfectly well that Ryan is severely allergic to nuts. Even a trace could make him suffocate. Yet you deliberately fed him nut cookies. You're trying to kill him, aren't you?" I got more agitated as I spoke, my body trembling slightly, perfectly portraying an enraged husband protecting maniac me. Meanwhile, I frantically projected thoughts in my mind, ensuring the mind-reading system clearly transmitted them to Ryan. Emma is so vicious. She doesn't truly like Ryan at all. She acts pure on the surface. But every time she visits Ryan, it's for money. Now she's even trying to kill Ryan to help her boy toy. I must protect Ryan. I love him and can't lose him. These thoughts surged through my mind like a tide, every word filled with genuine emotion. Sure enough, after I finished speaking, Ryan's gaze toward Emma changed completely. Originally, Emma was hooking up with both Ryan and a younger man. Now that her family was going bankrupt, she naturally needed Ryan's help to secure her position as his first love. She wanted to drive away me, the money-spending mistress. Now hearing my accusatory inner voice, she naturally panicked. With Ryan's suspicious nature and hatred of betrayal, in my past life, I was thrown into the ocean, just for being framed for stealing his information. This time, Emma was actually keeping another man behind his back. He must be furious. The silence in the lounge was heavy, broken only by Emma's stifled sobs. She looked like a bruised lily, clutching her face, waiting for Ryan to explode at me. In the past, Ryan would have indeed exploded. He would have seen a jealous, unhinged woman attacking his fragile first love. But now he was listening to the broadcast. I kept my finger pointed at Emma, my chest heaving with exerted, fake rage. I locked eyes with Ryan, channeling every ounce of desperate wife energy I could muster. Projected thought, "Oh God, look at him. He's confused. Please, Ryan, you have to believe me. She's trying to kill you. I don't care if you hate me for hitting her, just don't eat those cookies." My heart feels like it's being ripped out seeing him in danger. Real thought. If this man doesn't react in 3 seconds, I'm going to have to fake a faint. This screaming is exhausting. Also, that diamond ring on Emma's finger, isn't it the one I asked for last month? That little thief. Ryan's gaze shifted from my furious face to the scattered cookies on the floor. He slowly crouched down, picking up a broken piece. He sniffed it. The smell of roasted walnuts was faint, but undeniable to someone who lived in fear of anaphylactic shock. Ryan stood up, his expression unreadable. He looked at Emma. "Walnuts." Emma froze. Her tears stopped mid-flow. "Ryan, I bought them from that high-end bakery you like. I didn't check the ingredients. I just wanted you to have a snack." "Sarah is crazy." She hit me. "You didn't check?" Ryan's voice was dangerously low. I seized the moment. I grabbed Ryan's arm, my hands trembling. "Ryan," I whispered, voice cracking. "We've been together for 2 years. Even I check every menu, every package. Emma has known you since childhood. How could she forget?" Projected thought. She didn't forget. She wants him dead. She wants his assets for that gigolo she was texting in the bathroom. "Ryan, wake up. She's using your nostalgia against you. I'd rather die than let a scratch appear on your body." Ryan stiffened. The mention of a gigolo, boy toy, in my inner monologue clearly struck a nerve. He pulled his arm away from me, habitual coldness, but he stepped away from Emma. "Get out," Ryan said. Emma blinked. "What?" "Ryan, you're kicking me out?" She slapped me. "You brought nuts into my house. You almost killed me." Ryan's eyes were like ice. "And I need to look into some things. Go." Emma glared at me, her eyes filled with venom, but she knew better than to push Ryan when he was in this mood. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, the heels of her shoes clicking a chaotic rhythm. As soon as the door closed, Ryan turned to me. I immediately lowered my head, biting my lip. "I'm sorry I caused a scene," I said softly. Projected thought. He's going to break up with me. It's fine. As long as he's safe. I saved him. That's enough. Even if he throws me out, At least he's alive. Real thought. Okay, phase 1 complete. Now, where's that black card? I need to buy a soothing spa package after all this physical exertion. Slapping people hurts the hand, you know. Ryan stared at me for a long time. For the first time in 2 lifetimes, I saw confusion in his eyes. He was hearing a selfless martyr, but seeing a woman he had categorized as a gold digger. Sarah, he said, his voice unusually hoarse. Did you really think she was trying to kill me? I don't know, I lied. I just panic when it comes to you. Ryan sighed, rubbing his temples.
Go rest.
I have some calls to make. I nodded and retreated to the bedroom. As I walked away, I made sure to project one last thought. Projected thought. Please be safe, my love. I'll be here praying for you. Once inside the room, I locked the door and immediately flopped onto the king-sized bed, rolling my eyes so hard it hurt. Being a top-tier mistress was physically demanding. Over the next week, the atmosphere in the villa changed. Ryan was home more often. He spent hours in his study, likely investigating Emma. I played my part perfectly. I brought him coffee, decaf, safe, gave him space, and projected a constant stream of shy, adoring, self-sacrificing thoughts. One evening, Ryan came down for dinner. He looked tired. I looked into Emma, he said abruptly, cutting into a steak. I paused, fork halfway in my mouth. Oh, you were right, he said, watching me closely. She has been seeing someone. A failed model named Julian. She's been funneling money to him. My money. I gasped, covering my mouth. Projected thought. Oh my God. How could she betray him? Ryan is perfect. He's handsome, powerful, and kind. How could she look at anyone else? My poor Ryan. His heart must be broken. Real thought. Huh. Julian the model? I know him. He has a gambling debt the size of Texas. Emma, you amateur. You weren't funding a romance. You were funding a sinking ship.
Good job, Ryan.
Now, transfer that Emma budget to the Sarah budget. Ryan's jaw tightened. He was hearing my praise and pity, and it was soothing his ego. I cut her off, Ryan said. Completely. And I'm suing her for the return of the gifts I gave her. That sounds fair, I said demurely. Sarah, Ryan put down his knife. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you only think it? I froze. This was the dangerous part. I had to pretend I didn't know about the system. Tell you what? I blinked innocently. I didn't know for sure. I just had a bad feeling. A woman's intuition. Ryan studied me. He was becoming addicted to the truth he heard in his head. He thought he had a cheat code to my soul. Little did he know I was the one writing the code. Right, he muttered. Intuition. The next day, my allowance was doubled. 20 million. I sat in front of my vanity, applying lipstick and smiled.
Professionnalisme paye off.
Emma wasn't done. A cockroach doesn't die from one slap. 2 weeks later, the news broke. Ryan's corporation in crisis. Stock prices plummeting due to data leak.
It was all over the TV.
Ryan returned home, looking like a ghost. He sat on the sofa, head in his hands. It's over, he told me. The board is freezing my assets. I might lose the house, the cars, everything. I'm going to be in debt, Sarah. In my past life, this was when I packed my bags. And, truthfully, my instinct was to check my secret offshore account. But I knew Ryan. He was too smart to lose everything overnight. This was a test. Emma must have told him that I would leave the moment the money dried up. He was testing the mind-reading result against reality. I took a deep breath. It was time for the Oscar-winning performance. I walked over and sat on the floor between his knees, looking up at him. So? I asked. So? He laughed bitterly. So I can't pay you. No more allowance. No more Chanel. I stood up silently and walked to the closet. Ryan watched me, his eyes darkening, expecting me to grab a suitcase. Instead, I grabbed my jewelry box. I dumped it on the bed. Then I grabbed my collection of limited edition Hermes bags. These bags are worth about 3 million on the secondhand market, I said, calculating quickly. The jewelry, maybe 5. I have some savings, about 50 million. It's not much compared to your company, but it can help with legal fees. Ryan stared at the pile of luxury goods. He looked stunned. Projected thought. I don't care about the bags. I don't care about the money. I just want him to smile again. If we have to live in a studio apartment, I'll be happy as long as I can hold his hand. Ryan is my home, not this villa. Real thought. My babies. My Birkins. Goodbye, sweet emerald necklace. This better be a test, Ryan, or I am going to strangle you in your sleep. If this is real bankruptcy, I am going to have a mental breakdown. This is a high-risk investment. High risk, high reward. I walked back to him and held his hands. We'll figure it out, Ryan. I can work. I used to be a good assistant before this. Ryan's trembling hands gripped mine. He pulled me into a hug, burying his face in my neck. You'd stay, he mumbled. Always, I whispered. Projected thought. Forever. Through poverty and sickness. I love you, Ryan. He held me tighter. I felt a wetness on my shoulder. Was he crying? It was a test, he whispered after a long minute. I stiffened.
What?
He pulled back, wiping his eyes, looking at me with an intensity that was almost frightening. Emma said you'd leave. She said you only loved the money. I had to know. He stood up and pulled out his phone. Transfer $50 million to Sarah's account. As a bonus. And unlock the black Amex. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Projected thought. Oh, thank God. He's not ruined. I was so scared for him. Real thought. Jackpot. Mama is getting a yacht. Also, never do that again, you psychopath. Emma was losing her mind. She had lost Ryan, lost the money, and Julian, the boy toy, had dumped her the moment the checks bounced. She knew the truth about the system. She knew I was manipulating it. One rainy afternoon, I was at a high-end spa. My reward for the bankruptcy scare, when Emma cornered me in the locker room. She looked haggard. Her white dress was stained, her hair messy. You're faking it, she hissed, blocking my exit. I wrapped my silk robe tighter.
Emma.
You look terrible. I know you know, she screamed. The system. You know Ryan can hear you. You're projecting fake thoughts. You're a liar. I smiled, dropping the innocent act since no one else was around. Emma, I said coolly, the difference between you and me isn't the system. It's professionalism. You mix business with pleasure. You want the money and the love and the side piece. I just want to do my job well. I'm going to tell him. Tell him what?
He stepped closer, looming over here.
That you bound him to a mind-reading system without his consent? That you invaded his privacy? Do you think that will make him love you? He's a control freak, Emma. If he finds out you did this to him, he won't just sue you. He'll destroy you. Emma paled. She hadn't thought of that. But you're scamming him. I'm making him happy, I corrected. He feels loved. He feels secure. I provide emotional value for the financial value he provides. It's a fair trade. You just provided headaches and walnuts. Emma grabbed a pair of scissors from the vanity counter. Her eyes were wild. If I kill you, she muttered, the system breaks. And he'll see who you really are. She lunged. I didn't scream. Screaming is for amateurs. I sidestepped. But Emma was desperate. She slashed wildly. Suddenly, the door burst open.
Ryan.
He had been tracking my phone, protective, possessive, standard sugar daddy behavior. He saw Emma with the scissors. Emma, he roared. Emma froze. She looked at Ryan, then at me. A twisted smile appeared on her face. Ryan, listen to her. Listen to her real thoughts. I'll turn off the filter. I have the admin key. She tapped something on her wrist, a smartwatch I hadn't noticed before. A high-pitched whine filled the room. System alert. Privacy filter disabled. Raw consciousness stream active. Sudden silence. Ryan looked at me. This was it. The method acting was over. I couldn't filter anymore. My raw thoughts were about to spill. Emma cackled. Now you'll see, Ryan. She hates you. She thinks you're an aita. I looked at Ryan. He was waiting. My mind raced. What was I thinking? Real thought. This is annoying. I really don't want to get stabbed. And honestly, Ryan looks kind of hot when he's angry. Wait, did I just think that? No, focus. Money. Focus on the money. But he did give me that $50 million. And he hugged me when he thought he was poor. He's actually not the worst guy I've ever met. He's damaged, sure. But I'm damaged too. Maybe we actually fit. The thoughts echoed in the room, projected by the system. Emma's smile faltered. What? Ryan blinked. Real thought. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the money. The money is great. But I wouldn't have stood in front of a nut cookie for just anyone. And I wouldn't be standing here facing scissor hands Emma if I didn't somewhat give a damn about this grumpy, paranoid man. Ugh, feelings.
Disgusting.
I need a raise for this. Ryan started to laugh. It was a low, genuine laugh. He walked past Emma, ignoring the scissors completely, and pulled me into his arms. You love the money, he whispered into my ear. Yes, I said out loud. I really do. But you think I'm hot? Only when you're generous. And you need a raise? Hazard pay, I quipped. Dealing with your ex is hazardous. Ryan turned to Emma. His face went cold again. It's over, Emma. The police are on their way. Attempted murder, corporate espionage, you're done. Emma dropped the scissors, collapsing to the floor. The system hummed one last time and died down. 3 years later, I adjusted my veil in the mirror. My wedding dress cost more than a small island. Ryan walked in, looking dashing in his tuxedo. He hugged me from behind. The mind reading system had faded away about a year ago. Apparently, it ran out of energy, or maybe Ryan found a way to shut it off. He never told me. Ready, Mrs. CEO, he asked. Ready, I smiled. Do you love me, he asked. It was his favorite question. I turned and kissed him. I love you more than anything, I said. And for the first time, I didn't need to calculate. Well, maybe a little. Internal monologue. I love you. And I love that the prenup guarantees me 50% of everything if you ever cheat. But mostly, I love that we make a hell of a team. You make the money, I spend it, and we both keep the sharks away. A perfect transaction. I took his arm, and we walked out to the altar. I showed Emma. I showed the world. The ultimate skill of a professional mistress isn't just making the fake feel real. It's turning the transaction into a partnership that lasts a lifetime. I looked at the numbers in my bank account. Solid. I looked at the man beside me.
Solid.
Finally, a life where I didn't have to choose.